Okay, so today is November 29th, but we're doing the opener for this from the 16th for just a short bit of a review. So we already discussed the first two equations here. The first equation is a two-step equation, but also it's an equation that we can solve in two different ways. My favorite way to solve it is by using distributive property. So we're going to go ahead and circle the variable, draw our line of equality. When I go to solve this equation using distributive property, Carlos and Nimmons taught you guys last year that it's the rainbow method. So, using the rainbow method or distributive property, what do I do first? Okay, you're right. I put 2a, but how did I get that?
Because you distribute the 2 with the a.
What does it mean to distribute, though? What operation are you doing? You're absolutely right. Keep going. You're fine. You're right. There you go. That's what I'm looking at. So you took 2 times a and got, as you said, 2a. Then what do you do?
Then
Did I put what?
you got to multiply 2 with the 2 with the 6.
And you get what? 12. So I positive 12. Then on my right side, I have a 4. So from here, I have my two-step equation. So what do I do next, Rihanna?
You subtract 12 on both sides. And then, plus that, yeah. And then bring that 2a down. And 4 minus 12 is 8. And then divide that by...
Time out. Almost perfect.
Oh,
Why isn't it...
and it's, no, it's a negative 8.
Negative 8. There you go. All right, what's my last step I'm going to do here, Devontae? Divide by 2. I think I ask you that every time, the division one, don't I? All right, so then what's negative 8 divided by 2? Negative 4. Did anybody else solve it differently?
Oh, I did.
But did you have it right?
Yeah.
So what did you do instead?
I did divided by 2.
Yes. So that's the other way. So as Jemiah was saying, if you didn't distribute, when you go to do order of operations backwards, SADMAP, you wouldn't touch the parentheses until last because the P would be last. So you get rid of your 2 first. And then you'd work the equation that way, which is completely fine. As long as you showed all your work, either method will be acceptable for your quiz or test. All right, next one. 2b plus 6 equals 4. I'm going to go ahead and circle my variable. I'm going to draw my line of equality. Imagine, what do I do first?
You put distribute.
Say no. I
No,
can't
you
distribute
put
there.
minus 6.
That's right. I'm going to put a
On both
minus
sides.
6 on both sides. I can't distribute here because there's no parentheses and number on the outside of the parentheses. So on my left side, I bring down my 2b. On my right side, what's 4 minus 6?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. All right, Nick. Now what do I do? How do I get the b by itself? By. So on my left side, I can bring down my b. And then, Nick, what's negative 2 divided by 2? Sound like an old man. Good. b equals negative 1. How do we do on that one?
Good.
All right, let's take a look at the next two, the fun ones.
Yes.
These are my favorite. Okay. Oh,
I did
yes.
1 problem today, and that's it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, circle my variable, draw my line of equality, and I'm going to make it extra long because it's a long problem. But what else do I need to do because it's a square root? Not circle it, but box it. I know, I'm so picky. Box it. Now, what's the reason why I have you box the square root?
So you can... Oh, wait. Never mind.
You don't think you got it?
Oh, wait. So you can know, like, where's the... Never mind.
Okay, anybody want to help her? I think you know why. I just don't think you can... Well, yeah, it's a square root, but why do I put a box around it? What's the whole purpose of putting that box around the square root? I leave it alone. Because what do you mean by save it for last?
So you can get
This the last thing you got.
I got to get the square root by itself. So I'm saving it for last, basically meaning I have to get this box by itself, so what do I have to get rid of?
You gotta get rid of your minus 1 and your... Oh, wait.
Yo,
Your plus 1.
Okay,
On both sides.
so I'm going to start with that
Thank you.
1 and get rid of it. So basically I'm getting the square root by itself. So then I have 15 minus 1 is 14. Okay? Now what? Divide it by 2. So now I have 6c. The square root of 6c plus 1 equals
7.
7. Okay, now my square root's by itself. So now that my square root's by itself, I need to get rid of that square root sign. How do I do that? I'm going to square it. If I square one side, square the other. So square and square root cancel. So now I can bring down the 6c plus 1. And then my right side, I need to simplify 7 squared. It is 49. And now I'm with the two-step equation. So two-step equation, what do I do next?
Minus 1 on both sides. And that gives you, no wait, bring the C, bring the,
6c down.
and 48,
Okay. Then how do I get the c by itself from here?
divide by 6, and that leaves you 6 equals 8.
Nice. How many guys got halfway through that halfway through that problem and you had it right? How many guys got all the way through the problem and had it right? That's even better. Good. Don't worry, you guys are going to have time today and tomorrow to practice this and to ask questions if you need help, okay? So you have 2 days that you can ask for help before your quiz. All right, let's take a look at the last one. So this is an equation, solving equations with squares. So I'm going to circle my variable. I'm going to draw my line. And this time, what do I need to do? Box what? The parentheses. That whole set of parentheses is being squared. Now this is going to be important because I have a lot of kiddos that want to distribute. Let's say that I had a 2 on the outside of this parentheses. Could I distribute that?
No.
Why not? You're absolutely right. Well, you could still distribute, but what keeps me from distributing this particular? The square. Yeah, because there's a square, I cannot distribute. Like right here, we didn't distribute that, did we? Why couldn't we distribute it? Well, it's not parentheses, but some people want to distribute it because it's still multiplying, but you can't distribute when it's a square root. And you can't distribute when it's a square. You can only distribute when it's a set of parentheses without a square or a square root attached to it. Okay? Okay, so the whole purpose of squaring or boxing the square, just like the square root, is because we want to get the square by itself. So if I want to get the square by itself, what do I have to get rid of here?
Plus 12.
So how do I do that?
Minus 12.
Okay. Rihanna, after this one, you're not allowed to answer. So on my left side, I'm going to bring down my parentheses still. 3D plus 1 squared equals, and then what's 112 minus 12? 100. Okay? Is my square by itself?
Yes.
Yeah. Because that whole thing, since the square is on the outside of the parentheses, it's meaning this whole thing on the inside of the parentheses being squared. So now I'm ready to get rid of my squared sign. So how do I get rid of my squared sign?
Minus 1.
How do I?
Oh.
I heard it. Yeah, I put the square root sign. If I square root one side of the line of equality, I square root the other. So square and square root cancel. So I'm able to get rid of the square sign, which means I can get rid of my parentheses and just bring down the 3D plus 1. Then what's the square root of 100? 10. So that's a perfect square. We don't have to worry about simplifying it. Did you say of course?
No.
Of course. And now I have a two-step equation. So what do I do next? Get rid of the 1. Kelsey, you cannot answer anymore. What do I bring down on my left side? Equals? 9. Now what?
Divide
By?
3. D equals 3.
And box it. Nice job. How many guys got that one right? How many guys got it half right? How many guys are like, what is this? Okay, that's all right. We have 2 days to practice yet. All right, go ahead and pass your openers towards Mr.